Welcome to the Worship Guitar Channel. If you want to learn how to play lead guitar for church worship, I recommend connecting triad shapes. In this video, we will go from basic melody with these triad shapes to a powerful lead guitar solo. That's what this video is about. Let's get into it. So the best way to stay connected to the chords while you're playing lead guitar is using those small triad shapes. I look at these shapes as my home base. As the chords go through a progression, I have notes for a rhythm or lead lines available with those little shapes. So I'll break down how we can play some lead guitar over this great worship song. We are in the key of D major, but the first chord is G. So some of you might be saying, well, it's in the key of G if it's the first chord. In this case, it's not. Look at the triad shapes. We got G, D major, A, B minor. So this great worship song just goes through the cycle of chords the same way through the whole song, but does a lot of dynamic stuff. When we do it at church, they give me some room to play some lead and lead lines. I do a lot of rhythm because I'm the only electric when I'm on for that week. So I kind of go back and forth. But again, getting back to this D major, so right within those chord shapes I just showed you there is the D major scale. Get rid of a little delay there. That elementary scale is right at your fingertips. Those are all the available notes right there. In every chord that I just did, G, D, A, and B minor, every note that's in those chords is in this scale. So it kind of helps you get from one triad shape to another sometimes. But for me, I'm really visualizing the fretboard. I'm looking down and seeing these shapes. And hearing the melody. This doesn't come overnight, this melody thing, but it's basically the vocal melody is such a great place and a great foundation to start playing lead guitar in your church worship. For me, I've been playing a long time. I try to use my ear as much as possible to get the melody line or the what the vocalist is doing, because a lot of times we can just go right with that. And I'll show you those exact notes. Sometimes I'll have to get the piano player or keyboard player maybe to hit some of those notes for me to make sure I'm hitting the right melody note. But check this out. So we're starting here on the B string, 7 to 10 on the B, landing on the B note there in the 7th fret of the E string, which is right within the reach of that first triad. The next one. And you can just hit single notes here, but connecting them back to the triad is so important Whether you play it or not, you have that visual and those available notes. So we're landed out here on the first phrase on the 7th fret of the E string, basically going right back down from 10 to 7 on the B. And you can hit the D triad to finish that little phrase. Another phrase. So 7 on the G, 10 on the B string, back to 7 on the G, 9 on the G, an E note, which is in this A triad. The next phrase goes to the B minor chord. Basically outlines the B minor chord. So 7 on the G, 7 on the B string, back to 7 on the G, and hitting this, I like to hit this low note here on it'd be the 9th fret of the D string, this B note. So basically we're playing a phrase that leads to each triad. This is such a good way to practice. And you know, we're just working on one song today, but I try to do this with as many songs as I can in our church worship set. Whether I'm playing lead lines or rhythm, I'm still visualizing this in the same way here. And then there's another hook, another vocal melody that we can really milk right, you know, play right alongside that. And you can hear it kind of cycle through the chords because my ending note is different each time. So the phrase starts the same way every time, like this. 7, 9 on the G. 7 on the B string. 7 on the G string. The first time it hits the B note when it ends. The next time, the A note. The 7th fret of the D string. This time the 9th fret of the G string is the E note. Then back to the way we did it the first time, because it's a B minor chord. Back to that B note, 9th fret of the D string. All together. I love the sound of that. When you play it, with some drive and some little more reverb and delay, it just really hugs that vocal line. And then we can do this an octave up here. So the phrase, again, is going to start the same way every time, but have a different ending note because you're following the chords. That's what this lesson is about, listening for the chords and following them. And the way you resolve each phrase is so important, especially no matter what kind of music, but the worship music needs to stay connected. And for me, I don't want to be playing an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo in between this. That's not what I like to do. I like to keep it simple, playing sometimes bluesy rock phrases in between, but it's always connected back to a chord. And that's these exercises and what we're doing today with these lead guitar lines is to stay connected to the chords. So 15, 17 on the B string, 14 on the E string, 15 on the B, and it resolves here. It would be 16 on the G string. The next time, 14 on the G. The next time, 17 on the B string. It's an E note because you're on an A chord at that point. It's one of the chord tones. And the last little phrase is the same as the first phrase because you're ending on a B note here, which fits the B minor chord, obviously. This is the heart of lead guitar playing and creating guitar solos, is that connection to the chord. And I know I've said it several times because for me, I struggled, especially when I first started playing in church. It was about 20 years ago. I struggled for many years trying to get little solo and lead fills to fit because I was just trying to play up and down a scale. We have that D major pentatonic that will work over this progression, but it needs to, you need to resolve these notes back to the chord. This is a little bit of work, fretboard visualization and just getting your mind wrapped around thinking about the chords, but keep it simple. If we do the simple things well, with a good sound, it just really comes to life in a worship guitar setting. If you want to learn how to play lead guitar for church worship, I strongly recommend you using triad shapes to connect your lead lines to. All of your lead lines will connect to these little shapes. This needs to be a visualization thing. These little lines that I just showed you all connect that way, but we can do a powerful solo also. I'm still looking at the D major pentatonic in some different positions. And right here, it would be D major pentatonic. But I'm still visualizing the chord shapes within it, whether I'm using the D major scale. I still am visualizing these chord shapes. And you take that up the fretboard the same way. Check out these chord shapes. G, D, A, B minor. I'm visualizing these little chord shapes. And I'm going to break down this note for note, just what I did to give you some ideas how to play up high and then get back down to the home bass area, which I like to call it. So right there, I'm sliding up to 16 of the G string and landing on this D note on the B string, the 15th fret. And then back to that the 16th fret of the G string. The second time, so we're on this D note, the 15th fret, then we slide up to 19, hammering on from 15 to 17 on the B string. And then you can use these 3 notes and run up and down them. They just fit over that cycle of chords. And then I started walking down. Let me see here. It's leading up to that A chord, so you can hit this C sharp note in the 14th fret of the B string, just a slight bend. So I did the slight bend and slid up 1 fret and back down. And then back to that B note, and then the A note on the 14th fret of the G string. Again, this is a nice little bluesy move. And then you can kind of hammer onto it a little bit more, dig in. 12, 14 on the B, hitting the A note in the 14th fret. So far. And then we can just go down 2 frets to get back to that B minor, or that D major sound, because B minor and D major are related. They share the same notes in the scale. So 10, 12 on the B, 11 on the G string. The last one is in that D major home bass area. It'd be 7, 10, sliding from 9 to 11, and then back to this home bass note here. This D note, I gotta have that. That's just one way to get from up here and start walking down during, it just fits really well, even though I'm kind of thinking about the chords, but I'm not getting too wrapped up in that, because you don't want to be thinking too much when you're trying to play from the heart. Those notes, once you do this for a while, those notes, you'll know which ones not to hit for sure, but you'll start visualizing these little shapes, the G, D, and the little moves that go around those. A, B minor, so for me, when I play lead guitar for church worship, I use these triad shapes for the visualization. They're my home base, the go-to notes, whether I'm playing lead or rhythm, like I've said that before, but it's just keeping the sound of the chord, the melody, and melodies start to just come out of that. And I try to do this. I don't always hug the vocal melody. I just play notes around these triad shapes for different worship songs. And let me know in the comment section if this was helpful, and I'll do this on some other worship songs in the future. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And remember, God is good.